Right. Welcome to the Money Mindset and Marketing with myself, Allan Miles, and today I am joined by none other than the wonderful Emily Deluzy. We'll go with Emily Deluzy. You'll correct me in a minute. Emily is the owner of the Fit Queen brand, and I'm very lucky to call her a good friend of mine. Emily, how you doing? Let's correct the surname first of all. What is the correct pronunciation of the surname?
You were nearly there. It's
Nearly.
Emily Deluzy.
There we go. So Emily is the owner of Fit Queen. For those of my audience that don't know what Fit Queen is, don't know much about you, can you give us a little bit of background on yourself? What is Fit Queen and how did you come to be the owner of it?
Oh, this is such a juicy question. Yeah, of course, absolutely. So I'd like to say that Fit Queen is my baby. So I started my journey from going from being a size of 18 to 20 down to competing in bodybuilding, losing a lot of weight and having a lot of hormonal issues when I was in my early 20s. I decided to leave my career and qualify as a PT. And come out of competing and start to really support women that wanted to go through the same transition of really finding a happy, confident body shape. But for me, I did it in a bit of a backwards way, and I caused myself a lot of problems by doing it really badly, by losing lots of weight really quickly and not really taking into consideration my health and wellness at all. So for me, I really felt that I owed women, the platform to be able to come and go through this incredible body transformation, rewrite their identity without jeopardizing their health and wellness. So I started my journey into understanding female hormones and female physiology, and I launched Fit Queen. That was about 5 years ago, and we have worked with hundreds of women over the last 5 years, supporting women with lots of different goals, from generalized weight loss, fertility specific. We've also supported women that are recovering from disordered eating, and yeah, a little bit about what Fit Queen is now. So of course we support people to go through that body transformation, but our priority is to support women to really come into our world. We take all the thinking away from these clients. We put the worry and the thinking onto our shoulders, and we support our clients from a really hyper-personalized level. And our job is to make sure they go through a completely 360-degree transformation where they walk out of our program, they fly the nest, they know what they're doing, they're connected with their body, and most important, they're body confident and have a positive relationship with food. And from a perspective of Fit Queen now, so I have a fantastic team around me. I did start as a one-man band, doing all the things, hustling and doing all the roles. And now I have an amazing team alongside me. I have a full coaching team. I also have support through my marketing, through my selling. So it's an amazing brand that I'm really proud of. Most importantly, because I have a fantastic team and we serve fantastic clients. So that's a little bit about me and Fit Queen.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. Like taking a look through your social feed, like it looks very polished. Like your content's always very good, and I think it really resonates with your market really well. And it's really interesting to get you on to kind of talk about things from a few different angles, and we can obviously hit all three angles: the money side, the mindset side, and the marketing side. But if we were to, before we dig into the business side of it, if you were to speak to people from the perception of being an entrepreneur, I think self-care is something that is massively under utilized by most entrepreneurs. They burn themselves into the ground. What would be a couple of bits of advice that you could give entrepreneurs to take good care of themselves, to really get themselves into that best place possible from a health and fitness perspective?
Yeah, I absolutely love this. So when you start your business, depending on how far you're into your business, you're heavily the infrastructure of your business. And the reality is we have to look after the foundations, and the way you show up on your socials, the decisions you make, all come from having a great foundation of looking after yourself. Now, we all learn this sometimes a little bit backwards. We push really, really hard. We hit that absolute wall and go, I can't do this anymore. And then we come back and we start thinking about things that we need to do differently. I did that, absolutely. But the reality is we have to support you if you want to put long hours in, if you want to be making lots of decisions and you want to be putting fires out, which comes with running a business and being an entrepreneur. You've got to assist your brain in the best way possible. So I have non-negotiables in my week that enable me to perform at the level that I need to. And those non-negotiables are pretty basic, like really simple, basic things. I don't neglect my eating. I do practice what I preach. I don't neglect my eating. Like, I don't expect my car to get me 200 miles up north without any fuel in it. So I wouldn't expect my brain to do the same. So for me, consistent fueling, the right food sources is really important for me. Training, you know, I get pretty stressed, and think about all that cortisol exposure from some of the stressful situations you're going through in your business sometimes, and you're sat there sedentary. Like, we need to go and, you know, expel the cortisol, utilize that cortisol in your blood, and go and do some exercise. It doesn't have to be long sessions. If you're in the fitness industry, hopefully you're already doing that. And for me as well, most importantly, I am absolutely cool and happy and welcoming to invest in others to enable me to operate at a higher level. So I have a personal development coach I see once a week, because my team all come to me, and I'm the person that has to support those people, and I have to listen, and I have to be the person steering the ship. Now, I need someone to go to and do a bit of the other way around, really. So for me, I sit there for an hour and I talk at her about all the things that are going on in my week, and she just gives me the time and the opportunity to sit down with no distractions from a tech perspective, to really think about how to work through some of the problems that I feel are really big for me, whether that be work or personal life. And it prevents me having to then go to my partner and talk to him about work struggles. So I always see a personal development coach, and I also, without doubt, always have reflexology every week. So for me, it really takes me from a hyper-stressed sense of emotion, and I know as soon as I walk into that room, she's a very soft, gentle character, and it really works for me. I feel really relaxed when I leave. I sometimes see her twice a week. If I'm pushing a big launch and I'm doing extra bits, and I know the week's going to be pretty demanding on my energy, I'll book her in twice. So what I've also done is I've identified things that really fill up my love tank, and that might sound corny, but we need to start identifying what fills your love tank up. So reflexology is one of those. Going and watching a horse show, because I love horses. Going and watching a horse show on a Sunday afternoon fills my love tank up. And it's enabling myself and enabling you to identify what fills your love tank up. Because if that's full up, you are going to operate at such a high level, and you're going to love what you do. But if your love tank is empty, we're going to struggle to show up and grow.
Okay, I like this. This is good. So this is something that has come up without it even being intentionally brought up. It comes up every single time. So talking about things like your love tank, as you call it, and those non-negotiables. I love the phrasing non-negotiable. I use it in my life all the time, whether it's business stuff or personal stuff. You have to have those non-negotiables that you're gonna do every day to keep yourself in a good place or to move you one step further forward. But what are your thoughts then around from a mindset perspective, like the law of attraction, gratitude, those types of things? How do you create your mindset for success? Because I'm guessing it links back to the love tank that you're talking about.
This is a really good question, especially because I'll put my hands up right now. I am not so good at looking into the universe and sort of looking for success in that sense. I'm more of a doer, which actually has worked against me, because it means that I sometimes work way too much. So for me, I think from a mindset perspective, I actually am very responsive to looking at data and past metrics inside my business to determine success moving forward. I'm someone that will go, okay, well, this is not working. Why is it not working? And I will go and hunt for the leak in the ship across the business that's preventing me from getting to that next success. But I think from a personal perspective, one thing I've realized is you don't need to have a certain degree or a certain qualification to be worthy and to be successful and to grow a business. You've just got to be ethical. Okay, you've got to know what you stand for and know what you believe in. And you've got to stick to that throughout every marketing channel, throughout everything you deliver, throughout everything you do, throughout every conversation. You've got to be really clear on what's ethical to you and what are you trying to give society throughout your business and throughout your career growth. In my opinion, if you just focus on revenue, like it's never going to be a fun ride for you, right? It's got to go way beyond that, and intelligent people see through that anyway, that, you know, and if you're just money focused, intelligent people will tune into that. But I come from a family, my sister's a doctor, she's incredibly intelligent, you know, she has gone off, she's been very, very intelligent through school, she's gone off, done a PhD, I mean, she's fantastic. I was never overly academic. So for me, that was a limit for me, because when I started Fit Queen, I was always going to my mum, I should have done a degree. Oh, I just don't know. Like, people want initials at the end of my name. And that actually was a real drawback for me. And actually over time, I realized that I didn't need those things, because people were actually buying into me and my emotional intelligence and my ability to go, I've got you, we can help you, and I know how to help you because I've been through this. Mm-hmm. That's what people were thriving from. So I've spent a lot of time, especially with my personal development coach, really freeing myself from this, you must have this academia qualification. And by freeing myself from that, because I realized that was my limiting belief hugely, by freeing myself from that, I've just sped up like 20,000 knots. And now I don't feel like I have that limiting belief, and it's allowed me to really, really grow. So I think my answer to that would be like, can you identify anything from a mindset perspective that is holding you back? And it might be like you grew up with a parent that constantly told you that you needed to achieve more, or you know, what is that triggering you? And then productively think about how you can work through that. And once you've worked through that, you are going to fly.
Yeah. I think limiting beliefs, they're things that a lot of people, they don't even know they necessarily have. They sit there in the background. It's only when you start to challenge yourself that they come to the surface. And it sounds like we grew up in a similar way. Like, my sister was older than me. She went to Cambridge, got a first. I think I left school at 16. I wanted to go and work. And like, that for me was always a chip on my shoulder. And then absolutely, the money focus is there especially for the beginning in people's careers, especially if you don't take that educational route. It's like, well, I'm going to prove to everyone that I can make the money. But it's only over time that you start to then realize, well, you need more than that, because you can go and earn great money. You can go buy watches or cars or houses or holidays or whatever. But sooner or later, they stop giving you that thing that you thought you wanted. And I break this down into two areas: a push goal and a pull goal. So your push goal is usually a short-term goal, something up to 3 to 6 months. And for a lot of people, that's going to be an amount of money, a number on a scale, a specific thing. And that will take you so far in the belief cycle. But then you have to have, and I think this aligns with what you're saying, you have to have that bigger thing that pulls you forward. So Fit Queen is that thing. The purpose behind Fit Queen for you is the reason that you get up, not the money Fit Queen makes you or the success that it brings you, but actually delivering that transformational result, because you know what it feels like to be the other side of it. That's your pull goal, which then takes the belief cycle to a whole nother level, and it keeps dragging you forward. Those moments when you wake up, and every entrepreneur has this. And I think this is something that isn't really spoken about too much, but every entrepreneur wakes up, even the most successful people in the world, even Tony Robbins wakes up some mornings and goes, oh, I do not want to get out of bed today. But they find the ability to count backwards from 5 or from 3 and get out of bed, go jump in a cold pool, or go do some exercise, or do something to start your day, and do those non-negotiables. And I don't know, like, do you have those mornings where you wake up and you're like, I don't want to do it today, but you do it? Or do you actually give yourself the hall pass to not need to do it for the day, and you just check out for the day?
Love this question, Alan. Okay, so for me, of course, I have those days where I'm like, I'm not feeling it. But what I've taught my brain to do is, when I identify that I'm not feeling it or I don't want to do it, it's like this opportunity for resilience layers. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh yes, okay, my brain doesn't want to do something. Okay, this is why I really want to make my brain do this, because this is another layer of resilience. And one thing I've learned in business, to enjoy business, is you need resilience. And every year you grow more and you grow more and you grow more. So of course I feel that. Of course, if I'm doing a massive presentation on a platform that feels important to me, you know, there might be a bit of a, oh, I don't want to do it. Oh God, this is, you know, this is taking me out of my comfort zone. But, you know, one thing I've realized is you won't grow unless you're outside of your comfort zone, and your brain will always say, I don't want to do it. But we have to start thinking about, it's okay to sit in that painful, well, what we foresee to be painful of not doing it. And sitting in pain is actually okay. Or, you know, sitting in that I don't want to do it and then actually doing it is okay. I think we fear as humans to act on fear, because actually from a prehistoric standpoint, you know, fear is there to prevent you from, you know, getting hurt and to keep you alive. So it's not foreign to, you know, think, well, why am I feeling like so powerfully that I want to stay in bed? But act on that fear, because nothing's going to happen to you. You're going to be totally fine if you do get out of bed, and it's just going to give you another layer of resilience, and you need that. Okay, you need all of that resilience. 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree, that whole fight or flight thing of everyone thinks our brain is there to help us. It's not. It's just there to keep us alive. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? When you really start to dig into people who have gone through that journey of building a business or doing things that challenge themselves, like running marathons, things that really take you to a different level, generally you tend to see similarities between these people. They dig through those layers of resilience. They do things that are difficult every day. They face fear head on. And actually, it all just comes down to perspective, doesn't it? Like, it comes down to, you can look at pain and fear as negatives, or you can look at them as exciting adventures of new discovery. Like, when whoever it was who went off to discover the world, and obviously I left school at 16, geography was not my friend. Like, I couldn't tell, well, neither was history either. But it was a case of people went off, Robinson Crusoe or whoever went off, and they discover the world. They were scared. Like, they arrive at some jungle with some tribal people there with spears. He didn't just wander off his boat and be like, oh, hi, everyone. He was like scared to death, but he explored. It was a new adventure. It allowed him to face his fears. And that's where greatness is created, in those moments when no one's looking and you're scared. Like, you take that step to move forward. So if there was somebody in the fitness industry, let's say they're a PT in a gym right now, or maybe in COVID, they tried to make the transition online. They thought they could do it themselves and they've struggled. Maybe they've got a couple of clients and they can see people around them doing well. You can obviously look at Fit Queen and see that it's an established brand and you've put the work in over the last 5 years to make it that. What would be your top 3 or 4 steps to somebody to create some forward momentum in their online business?
Oh, this is a great one. Okay, so we are absolutely in a saturated niche, 100%. Okay, so one thing that I would always recommend is we have to find your unique angle to be able to stand out, and to also know what you're focusing on, and, you know, for people to go, oh, that's interesting. I think what I tend to see across sort of content is we tend to be giving a lot of generalized information out, when actually one of the best things you can do is pick something that you're really interested in, whether that be, you know, that might be cortisol as a stress hormone, it might be mobility, it might just something singular, and actually going and taking some time to really study that single thing, and then talk about it a lot through your socials, because it puts you as an authority character in the industry. And when there's lots of people talking about, you know, eat less, move more, or this is how you work out your calories, what we're seeing, in my opinion, is audiences are coming quite desensitized to that. And people want to learn more advanced stuff, and we have to put you as the authority figure, especially so you can charge a little bit more, and you know, then you're aligned with people that really want to work with you. I would also definitely recommend thinking about starting small and realizing that, please disconnect from people. This is my opinion, and this is something that would have really helped me if I was listening 5 years ago. Any marketing you see that tells you that you're going to get to 10K months like in 2 weeks, I need you to detach from all of that marketing. And I need you to realize that to build a really great progressive business, in my opinion, from my experience, it's steady growth. Mm-hmm. There isn't a big aha overnight where suddenly you open your Stripe account and there's 100 grand there. Like, it's a very, very gradual progression. But what that means is your business won't just burn overnight. Okay, if for any reason things started to slow down, your business will gradually come down. So you've got this great stable business, and that's what we all want. We want stability in the business. You don't want a one-hit wonder. And trust me, I've seen many people in the fitness industry hitting one-hit wonders. Mm-hmm. So for me, I think start small with realistic expectation, and you really want to hone in and give those clients such an incredible experience. Because again, I see this across, like, I've been doing some consulting recently for people in the fitness industry, and I have realized that actually we're losing the core focus of why you're doing what you're doing. And we need to be looking after these people. These people have come to you because they're hurting and they've got a problem. So you need to go all in on looking after those people. They will tell their friends, those friends will join, and it's an easy transition to grow the business. And referral is one of the most powerful, powerful elements of growing your business in the fitness industry, because it's not a trusted industry. So if your friend says, I've done it and it works, that person is ready to sign up and ready to rock and roll. So I think really honing in on what your unique expert knowledge is going to be on. And it doesn't have to be on everything, because physiology is pretty big. Mm-hmm. Pick something that works for you, that maybe ties into something that is relatable to something you've been through. So for me, for instance, I had a lot of hormonal issues, which is why that grew as my baby. And why I honed in on it, and why I spent hours studying, because I had to find answers for myself. But then it became a passion for me. So something that relates to you is really powerful. And then also thinking about, okay, whatever clients I get in, don't think about the money or how much money you're making. Just think about driving in on that client and giving them the most incredible experience, like going way above and beyond. And it's going to be some hard graft at the beginning, but trust me, it will serve you. It will lay your foundations and serve you for life. That's two, but I feel like
it's three. We've got three. We've got unique angle, start small, and incredible client experience. Is there anything else you'd add to that?
Oh, yes. Okay. Also, yeah, there is one more. I literally feel like you need to put blinkers on as well. So the reality is, what you see online, it kind of backs up the first factor, but you might think that your friend or someone you know is doing really well from what's perceived online, but you will never know the reality unless you're inside their Stripe account.
Yeah.
So you need to put your blinkers on, and you need to just focus on your lane. And this is actually something that I'm really strict on. So I don't follow lots of people that I have lots of fitness people follow me that do online businesses. Mm-hmm. And especially at the beginning, I didn't follow any people. The only thing I did do was, before I started, I emailed 20 people that were in the fitness industry doing online coaches that I felt were delivering a really, really good service and looked like they were doing a great job. And I put together 15 to 20 questions, and I said, if you wouldn't mind, could you just give me some feedback on these questions? And I was hearing directly from the business owner there, and it was really useful. And there was lots of different opinions, but I utilised that as a bit of market research to begin with. But outside of that, I don't follow anybody, and I don't look at what anyone else is doing. I stay very laser focused with my blinkers on, and that enables me, I think, sometimes, to make decisions based on what's best for the business, and rational decisions rather than emotional decisions. Because we always want to try and make decisions based from from your prefrontal cortex, your rational thoughts there, rather than your chimp brain at the back. So yeah, I think keeping really laser focused and doing you and focusing on you, and that is enough to grow. That is enough.
I think that's some really good advice, especially that last one, that focusing on you. It's one of the things I see more than anything when people come through launching their business. And I remember going through some mastermind academies with people, and I've spent a long time in sales, so naturally quite competitive. But then all of a sudden, you don't know other people's full story. You see somebody else join a program, as an example, or somebody else decide to do exactly what you're doing. And you see from their perceived results, it looks like they explode overnight. And you go, well, how did this person come in 2 days ago and has now made £40,000 paid in full? What? I'm struggling to make 2. And you're like, it's all of a sudden, it then becomes a competition. It then becomes that race of you looking in the mirror and going, I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy of the success. And that becomes a very slippery slope. So I think that's probably out of all of it. And all of them are good bits of advice. I think that focusing on you, staying in your lane, it's a very disciplined thing to do, but it's something that pays dividends in the long run. As long as you're always trying to be one step better than you were yesterday, that's the process of really moving forward. And I really like those 15 to 20 questions to send out for some market research. I think that's always really good. To wrap up our time here, we always ask for any book recommendations, audio books, podcasts that you like and you think are really important to help with development and that you would recommend. What would be your choices?
Oh, yeah, I should have thought about this. So I am a big fan, just from an educational standpoint. I love Lyle McDonald for Female Physiology. He is The Woman Code, I think volume 1 is a very, very great book to buy. It's not cheap. It's about £80 and you have to pay £20 shipping from America. But it's one
is it on Audible?
Well, yeah, but I believe so. Maybe you can definitely download like the PDF version, but it's great to start if you are focusing on serving women. It's a real great, I call it the Bible really of understanding female physiology, which I absolutely love. I love The Holistic Psychologist.
Okay.
She has a book out, and I love this book because it's heavily focused on freeing you up from conditioning that you've had as a child. So again, supporting my whole sort of worthiness around qualification and some of the difficulties I had with a bit of a troublesome parent when I was growing up. It's really supported me to be able to find some harmony and also create some boundaries with switching off, because that is something that is difficult when you are running a baby that's alive 24/7. And learning how to detach doesn't only benefit you, but it benefits your relationships as well, and the people that matter most. If you can't switch off and you're not present, it can have huge effect, and that's something I felt firsthand. So I love that book. Really, really productive book. I'm trying to think what else. I'm a big fan of Russell Brunson books, of course. Yep. But one thing I'd say with that, is they are really great because they're dummy proof to read. Like, they're really easy to digest and understand. But they're the type of book where they give you loads of strategies and loads of information. What you've got to do is pick bits out that are going to work for your business. For instance, like if you're just starting out and you're reading one of his books about a 3-step upsell on the checkout button, that's not really relevant. And if you haven't got a click to buy course or product and you haven't got enough traffic going to it, there's lots of variables to look into when it comes to like what marketing strategy is actually going to work for your business and your business size and so forth. But I think there's some good sort of good bits in there, especially around building out like a really solid email sequence, which is, a great asset to your business that will be in place long term. So I do like the Russells.
Have you? So he did a book which I think I got when I did One Funnel Away challenge. It's called 30 Days. And it's a really interesting book. If you like traffic secrets and expert secrets and those books, it's really interesting. It's basically, I think there's about 15 or 20 people who have all got the 2 Comma Club Award. They basically break down, if they had to restart their business today, what would they do over the first 30 days to get it back to where it was? Have you read that one?
No.
It's a good read. It's a good read.
Yeah. I hope I don't need it, but yeah.
No, I know. But there's some interesting ideas in there for, especially when you look at launching products and then that new thing, and you go, okay, well, that's an interesting way of how to do it. Because I think sometimes, especially when we have that developed business, we sometimes can lose that day one hunger, can't we? Of that, I need to move the business forward today with speed. because it's a case of, okay, well, we have the business, let's move slowly and methodically and at a good pace, which I know is one of the steps you mapped out about starting small. I think there's something exciting about that launching, isn't there? That launch process. And that's the thing I really took away from that book, of getting that hunger of launch and really driving something new into the market.
I think from a marketing standpoint on that front, yeah, I completely agree with you. But I think one of the biggest problems I personally see across the space is people, because launches do take a lot of energy, and that's something that, you know, it can take quite a bit of time, quite a bit of energy from you to show up and launch something effectively. I personally feel that you should focus on having a flagship offering that's evergreen. That, you know, it depends on what your service is, but if you're in the fitness industry, you know, really nailing a foundation where you know that you're going to get X amount of new clients in every month and X amount leave, and you know your retention, you know your customer life value, and you nail that first, and then you put launches sporadically on top of that over the 12 months with offers or whatever that might look like. The only reason I'm very hot on that is because the first thing I did in VitQueen is I decided I wanted to make this really cool website with this subscription-based model on the back of Russell Brunson. Now, at this point, no marketing experience and no idea what I was doing. So I put loads of hours and time and money into building this great content area. But I didn't stop to think about the fact that I only had a couple of thousand followers. And when you look at law of averages and conversion rates, you know, an £8 a month subscription was, but in my head, I was like, well, I'm going to hit 10 grand overnight, like Lady Boss, who works with Russell Brunson. Yeah. And we worked so hard on the subscription site, and we launched it and we pushed it. And, you know, we didn't have 10 grand marketing spend to put into it straight away, and it didn't grow. So you have to look at all variables when you're deciding what your offering is, and also look at your energy. I think courses do take a lot of energy, but I think they're something that sit on top of a solid foundation from an evergreen strategy perspective.
Yeah, I think that's really great advice. So have you got any last words for the audience if they're listening? Any last bits of advice? And also, where can they find you if they want to follow you? We'll put obviously all of your links in the description, but if someone's walking along now looking at their phone, where can they find you if they want to go onto social or the internet to find you?
Yeah, for sure. So you can go and check out what VitQueen's about at coachingbyemily.com. But I'm most active on my socials for sure. So you can reach me at Emily Deluzy, and it's Emily and then it's DELUZY. And yeah, most active on Instagram, I'd say, for sure. I think from a perspective of what to share, it's normal that this feels difficult sometimes, and it's normal that you feel perhaps challenged, and you know, you feel like you're having to learn new skills every week. That is the reality of being an entrepreneur and growing a business from the ground up. You know, you don't have the luxury or potentially don't have the luxury of, you know, having a fully fledged sales team, marketing team, design team, you know, management to lead you. You're doing this on your own, and I feel like you need to give yourself a massive pat on the back for that, because you're having to learn so many skills and be so productive to want to do that. So trust me on this. In my opinion, anybody can grow a business. Anyone can have a successful business. You've just got to give it some time. And this whole sort of like growing something massive overnight, just detach from that messaging, delete it off your socials. It's not serving you. It's not the reality. Unless you've got 50 million followers, okay? If you're like me with a couple of thousand followers or 200 followers, okay, let's be realistic and start focusing on small growth. Trust me, you will be where I am, but you just got to give it a bit of time.
Good advice. I love it. Time is a very, very important thing, without a doubt. Thank you so much for joining me today, Emily. For everybody listening, if you aren't already a member of the Money Mindset and Marketing Facebook group, please be sure to join, where we break down the podcast in a bit more depth and go into some more detailed training. You can find a link to this on my website, allanmiles.com. Hopefully you're already a member. The link will also be in the description. If you haven't been taking notes, as I always say, go back to the beginning, listen again. I've written a page of notes from this podcast. There's some really great advice in here. It's about constantly trying to find a way to improve and move yourself forward. Emily, it's been a pleasure having you here. Thank you so much for joining us. Everybody else, I will see you next week. Take care, guys. Bye.